Live. It's Thursday. Hello. I'm Chris. Wow. I'm Chris. I'm RoboDad. Your 10th favourite D&D YouTuber. I decided. And yeah, we're going to look at some D&D stuff because we love the hobby. So if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. I'm waiting for... I don't know why I'm waiting for anyone to watch live. Let's just crack on with what I've got to say. Which, if I look at my notes... Well, it's to welcome everybody into the video. We're on the third week, so we're looking at Keep on the Borderlands. And we're going to have a chat about this. But this is not really the reason we're here. We're here to talk D&D, and your comments come first. So, yeah. The last live stream was good. I say it was good, and we got this Tyranny of Dragons with the memberships, with super chats. Yes, I did what I said. I bought it, so it looks like that's what we're doing next, guys. But not today. Pardon me. Today we're looking at the Keep. Now, I am aware that other people right now are talking this Underdark options, and I don't know, we might get around to it. Playing Mind Flayers? What does that say? Barbarian, Path of Unlight, Rogue, House Agent, Wizard, Imaskar Carnist. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get back to that. So, yeah, what are we looking at here? We're looking at the Keep. Keep itself. And so we're looking at the starter set, obviously, which is behind my shoulder. This. And a lot of people, all the new people will probably find themselves there, and will find themselves there for years to come, unless that is would they have like Dark Sun starter set like we talked about last week? You know, is that a thing? World of Warcraft starter set, would that be a thing? I'd buy it. You know, I want to do a video on what is World of Warcraft. I'd like to investigate that. And what is Dark Sun? What is Star Wars? I can probably do without. But yes. Right. Get myself all tidied up here. Great art. And we've covered the wilderness. We've covered the caves. What is the Keep? Why is it there? Well, it works as your place to rest. That's its function. It's where most people live at the moment. It's a safe place, I guess, because this box does kind of say you're only really meant to be able to rest at the Keep. So it wants you to go forwards and backwards. You ascend a winding road through a forested and mountainous country. Ahead, atop a sheer-walled stone plateau, looms a great and stoic keep. Right, 2 armed guards stand at the front gate, and we do get a map. Come on, computer. Get keys to the locations, but this is our map, which is really nice, isn't it? Looks to be a real drop off the back of it, but I'm not sure that's exactly correct, or whether it's fog, because these things are meant to be stood on a high up place. Yeah, so doesn't look like it's got a back door, unless no, that's just that goes into area 14. Yeah, let's see if we can... Does it have any, like, overall? Because you can start anywhere. You can start basically outside the keep, on the road, or in the caves. And for anyone who doesn't know, I have done a DM's guide for this. So this is more a hangout. If you want to see the proper guide, I did my best at the time. So we can skim over it, but like I say, this is a crux to hang our live stream upon. The characters can visit any location in the keep, talk to citizens, and let's find out what's actually in there. Can I see that key on that screen? Gatehouse, barn, private apartments. Private apartments, somewhere they can actually stay outside of being in a tent, which has got to be a great relief when you're out on the road. A soft bed. I like now and again to drop in. You have a bath in a stream. You know, I like to put a little bit more reality in it. So I say, how would you feel after months on the road that you go to go actually get a room for the night, which you can lock your door and, you know, just properly relax? Those things interest me. So you've got your provisioner stop. It works as a massive shop as well. And it's a huge quest board. All things that get echoed through all the books, really. Can we level up here? Yeah. Can we downtime, learn new skills? It's all at their fingertips. Some would ask why they would bother going back to the keep. I mean, that's not what I meant to say. Some would ask why they ever leave the keep. Why do adventurers leave? They've got gold, ways of getting gold here, things to buy, things to do. It almost seems silly to leave. But with good quests and good rewards, we can entice them out. So here is the uniform and colours. So you could, if you're doing this last or whatever, you know, saying you see a blue and silver soldier at first, they won't know what that means, but the identification will be useful later on when you're like, they're obviously from this area and they're the good guys. So you could put, I don't know, black armor with red diamonds on to be the next town over. And who's to say they don't absolutely hate each other? Hey, DFG, Dungeon Father Gaming, stalwart of the live streams in and out here and there. How are you doing? Picked up my coaster by accident. Yes. So inside our keep section, commoner, a curate. What's a curate? I'm fine, thanks, friend. I am okay. I'm doing good. Enjoying these little streams. A curate. Are they? Oh, healer's touch. That'll do. So that's good. I said they can get back here and it's a safe place. They actually have a proper curer. Raise the dead. Again, you might blame this module, as it were, starter set, for being too easy. But I would say that it stabilizes. This game's got stabilizers on. Like we discussed last week, less so than the original did. So having this sort of thing is probably a good idea. Teach new players that death isn't necessarily the end. For some reason, we've got a grey ooze bit in here, a guard. Guard captain, knight and noble. Makes perfect sense. As I mentioned, unlike other settings here. The keep is a safe place to rest and resupply. They can freely take long rests in the keep. Long rests. There are variants on resting. It won't be mentioned here, I don't think. The standard is an 8-hour rest. Other games will have this be different. Like, what am I thinking? What are the other alternatives? I've heard one be like long rests. Is it Pathfinder? Who do it like overnight or 2 days or a week? It might even be a week. And a short rest is 8 hours, you know. Really depends. But some people don't like short rests and allowing short rests. I'll stop short rests if I think they're resting too often and using it to save scum. Is that what my kid calls it? To cheat the system. Why have we gone back here? So yeah, it's a good place to rest. Fine. A variant in Grim Hollow that a short rest is overnight, a long rest is 2 or 3 days. Yeah, I think they're like in a dungeon. I always think of it as being in a dungeon where if you don't find a safe place, you can't rest. And this is obviously it's a safe haven. The map is not to scale, but you can use it to track your character's whereabouts. Well, that's good to know. So we can spread it out. It's just the things that we don't need to have a big park and stuff like that where kids play. Oh, that suits that perfectly, doesn't it? That sounds cool. So I wonder. I know we have those NPCs there, but we want to go to the outer gatehouse. This is where those two are. The 2 guards. Now, Bartho is, and they've done the art well here. He's an idiot. And he's also, don't we find out that he's doing some other sideline that he shouldn't be doing, and he sort of gets replaced later on? Gala is really on point. She's really good. Probably resents have been on guard with him. So yeah, walking up to the keep, you're going to be halted. And is it a we'll let you off, White Rabbit, the whitest of rabbits. Yeah, is it fair to say we should let them have a charisma sort of discussion role play on getting in? Or is that unfair? I think if you turn up outside a keep, you're going to have to... Does it say that here? It talks about active role play, fine. Yeah, social interaction. Because Gala is going to be really like, I do my job well. And I'm not letting any riffraff in here. Whereas Bartho, I don't know, if he looks at them and thinks I might be able to swindle these two, these few, probably let you in. You might have a bit of a bickering between them. Would be a nice idea. I like this banner, having art for the keep. Been nice to print that out and hang it. I'd hang it on my fireplace or whatever on that session. So the drawbridge is usually raised, so up. So I guess, do they stand... I've probably looked at this in the guide. Do they stand bank side? Oh, I suppose they can stand, yeah, over the moat. Not on the land side, but on the keep side. Yeah. And I suppose it depends whether they've got reason to be here or not. The guards should question why they've come to the keep, what their intentions are. Yeah, you would think so. Makes sense to me. Like, we get handouts with this, and we do get a letter, and I wondered whether that was the invite, but I've read it, and I think it's like a, no, you've done well. And I like these trader handouts, although we can discuss the prices in a bit. Yeah, it's nice. That's nice. That I'm a fan of a handout, which is obviously why I get Beadle and Grim stuff. So hopefully they sort of, in fact, when they come in, don't they get moved or told to go straight to somebody? Probably says that in a minute. Bartho and Gala introduce themselves and encourage the characters to lend their services to the keep. I'm going to make the lazy one somehow working with the bandits. I think unless I did that myself, I seem to remember that I said in the guide, have it be him on the inside. I can't remember. The keep has plenty of... This is what Gala, right? The keep has plenty of need for hearty adventurers like you. If you want to make a name for yourselves in this community and earn the Castellans' respect, you should visit locations within the keep and offer your aid. Residents usually pay for a job well done. Or words to that effect. You got to, yeah. We'll give you 2 days grace, and if you're stopping, you have to help out. So the military are certainly going to see them and say, you look handy. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to join? Or do you want to... And we'll see them in a minute training, won't we? Miklos, hello, my friend. Speaking of Miklos, last week we got a second player for my D&D campaign. I'm going to be running something kind of short. Miklos were the first one to jump on board. And then I got Pixel Pat last week and another friend of mine. So I've actually got 3 players. If you want to get in this first game with me online or ones in future, then you can use this email to get your name down effectively, which is whitehouse.investigations@gmail.com. And if nothing else, we will hopefully play soonish or early next year. So that's cool. That is cool. That is cool. So rather than being a quest board, which I suppose there is a quest board, they can report to the fortress for more information and how they can further the interests of the Castellan. So they did say something about the Castellan, didn't they? Earn the Castellan's respect. I have been using D&D Beyond, but I realised when I pair it with StreamYard like this, you guys will actually see what I'm looking at. So at the moment, we'll use this, and yeah, well, we'll figure some out. Yeah. Barthos reward. The guards here have orders to help out around the keep between shifts, but Bartho claims he must rest instead to stay sharp. He pulls the characters aside and asks them to complete quests around the keep for a small reward. Instantly, he'd probably get reported because they have no reason. I would possibly have Bartho say, I might be able to get you some special weapons. I'd probably entice the players not to have Bartho be reported in yet, you know? Or maybe he's like, he will lie and say, look, I have a special position here. I'm only doing the door to help out as a favor. I've got a lot of sway here. So get on my good side and you know, you'll have no trouble while you stay here. And they won't have any idea whether he's lying or not. So Bartho thanks them, gives them 5 gold pieces after they've completed 3 quests. Or just 3 generic quests, I think. But you can just make up 3 quests. Things that he obviously wouldn't want to do, being a lazy sod. He does seem guilty, yeah. He's painted to look guilty, isn't he? And of course, there is, like you say, or somebody said, yeah, you said, there's a bandit faction out there. Bartho seems like the likely culprit for even letting them in on a night one time. Maybe he hates his boss. He's always getting in trouble. So Bartho lowers the drawbridge by accident. You know, oh, he just went for a wee and come back and somebody had let the barrier down. And yeah, people are like, well, the players will be like, well, Bartho already bribed me. So it's probably him. There's a barn, and we've got another NPC who is called Cornflower, a little halfling. And yeah, he's a good worker, loves animals. That's it. It's nice to get some rumours. Usually you'd get, you know, D6 table, but they've seemed to have sprinkled them out over NPCs. It's good, isn't it? It helps the newbies think, okay, here's something that they can say. I think she does offer them. Well, we'll get to it, won't we? Yeah. I mean, some people will want to role play helping out on the farm. 6 large mounts. Mounts as in what? Oxen? Is that oxen a mount? Or is it just a yard animal? You do get cards with NPCs on, yeah. Yeah, which is a great idea, isn't it? Not sure if yeah. Like Dwern, for example. Very useful having these. Oops. As I said, you can put them on your DM screen. Just stick them up there. Awesome. It's just I think you learn through seeing stuff, don't you? Better than anything else. So there are things to do in this barn. And there are some apartments, but you can't just walk off the street and get an apartment. It'll be like, well, you can pitch your bedrolls there or your tents there. It said the map was bigger than it actually is expressed. Large mounts. Yeah, like giant lizards. Because you might have come off a different campaign. I have no issue if you come in at level 15 and then do this. Why not? As I said last week, my players love just being able to smash through easy tasks going, This is well beneath us, but we'll get through this in no time. So yeah, you've got this friendly NPC, and she does offer them stay in the barn for free. So there are some apartments, but you know, it's like that's money, and they might not have a lot of money, or they might have loads of money, depending on if they've done this third, as we say. But ultimately, where's the fights? Do we have any fights in here? Go and find my missing goats. And because it's come to mind, I probably said that one of the quests Bartho gives you was like, it's my job to round up the animals, really. Can you do it for me? And they're only spread all around the keep so that it forces your party to explore, you know, the grounds. I think it would be neat if one of the goats ran out of the keep and into the wilderness. Yes. It would make for a good start for another quest. Yeah, if like goblins snatched it up and ran off as well. I'm having my party meet Cornflower their first time in the wilderness. Yeah, I know there's that other girl out there, but it is really dangerous outside. You know, you'd think that. Well, I suppose would the villagers have like a couple of guards escort them? Where would they be going? They'd have to be going to another town. There's nothing obvious for a day-to-day commoner to be messing with outside. It's known, it said at the beginning, it's dangerous out there. So, yeah, maybe they can do, the NPCs might do favors for the guards, you know? Yes, exactly, yeah. That's true. But yeah, chasing, that's good. Chasing a missing goat outside, especially if you've got animal lovers in your party. Or failing that, a cat. You know, like there's certain streets that just have a random cat that everyone takes in. If you've got a bit of a soft player, a good enticement is you see the cat on top of the wall. Next thing you know, it leaps down, and you're like, "Uh-oh." Just anything that they get attached to. But yeah, Cornflower. We're really upset if she finds that wagon that's damaged outside and the horses, if any of the horses are dead or anything. Finding the goats. So, clues. Hoof prints in the dirt. I mean, surely you just follow the bar, don't you? There is. And of course, there's chasing, isn't there? The goats run off, nice and simple. You've got magic, you know, hold person, would that work? Not sure. Hold monster, not a monster either. There's not a hold beast spell, is there? Even if Cornflower gives them rope to like lasso them in a safe manner. So now it says you get a gold back as a reward. And that's per goat. A gold's a lot of money. We talked about the actual money of this last week. Because the gold in here, let's look if we can. So one gold. Where is what I'm looking for? Do handouts. Come on. So there's that letter. Right. An ale, a pint of beer. That'll be 1 gold piece. 1 gold. Or do you want a soup? Bottomless soup. So you could have a gallon of soup. 1 gold. Bark tea. What does it say? What is it? Or dry? Stiff. A stiff drink I've heard of. A dry. I have heard of a dry cider. A dessert. 1 gold. That's just crazy to me. Like rope. You'd think rope was more expensive than a bowl of soup. That's fair enough. 25. 400. That seems excessive now. So you can have 10 pints or a mall. And yet a spear is equal to a pint. Because a pint over here right now is about £5. And yet you wouldn't buy a spear for £5. A spear would be like 40 quid, £40. Crazy. But so yeah, you might have to come up with your own system for how much these things are. So that's the goats. And they don't have to just get out there once, you know, they can escape again later on. They mentioned that the prices were made with players in mind, new players, more simple. Oh, I understand. Look, I only use gold in my games. I don't use copper. I say anything less than a gold you have. You go into a tavern and the barkeep's like, oh, that'll be 10 copper. You've ordered some food as well. Okay, it'd be 2 silver, whatever. I'm like, look, you have it. You pay, move on. We're not breaking into a gold piece. You know? This is a very good point. This is a very good point. Now, in Curse of Strahd, there's one main shop in a village, and they double their prices because they can. It's like, well, and they come in that shop and they're like, oh no, I ain't paying. What's a is a health potion 50 gold? So let's say it is. Let's say 100 gold for a health potion, and they're like, no way, not a chance. And then there's nothing after that. You're just wilderness after that. So it's like, hey, if you come back, you'll pay it 100. Is it 100 gold for a health potion? Do they have any here? Don't think they sell any here. Oh, potion of healing. Potion of healing here, 50 gold. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, later on, it's not too bad. But aha. Private apartments. We talked about this. If they want to come in all fancy, right? We're not asleep. We know we come here to have a nice time. Don't want to stay in your barn, cornflower. Thanks very much. We get to meet this landlord who looks lank. He looks hard work. A wooden jeweler's sign, so he's rich mafia type. It looks like hangs over an open door in the front of this 2-story building. He's peering at an emerald. Straight away, some of your players might be like, well, there's a heist situation. And yeah, okay. Because I always like to reverse it. We'll say this in Tyranny of Dragons as well. When I read Tyranny of Dragons, I think, what would it be like if I said you players are in the cult of Tiamat and there's going to be people pursuing you who are trying to stop you? It's a twister-rooney. So how would you even if it's a second playthrough, how would you replay heroes of the Borderlands from a different angle. Well, obviously, you could say you're a kobold, or you're a goblin, or you're a bandit. No, you're a bandit. Let's say you're a bandit. We came up for the bandit titles. We invented a faction in the first episode of this live stream. What did I do with it? Well, that's annoying. We invented a faction name. Right, so you're a bandit, right? And as a bandit, well, you know there's some caves to be robbed, but you also know that all the citizens are in the keep. So you break in, basically. I think that'd be fun. And what would be the point? What's the actual mission? Well, it's a horde. The keep is the horde, isn't it? You go in there. There's the bad guys are. You cut through commoners, feel really good, but then there's actual military in there. I think that'd be fun, especially if you're all like rogues or something. Yeah. So you should think you can always like what is the opposite if you run it again just for fun. And don't forget, when your players have cool stuff, other people, even in the keep, will be like, I like that. Thieves, pickpockets, you know. That Bartho, I'm sure that Bartho allows pickpockets in as long as he gets a share. So who is this guy? Human jeweler. He's a noble, yeah, obviously. He's elderly. He has a knack for spotting flaws, which is it makes me think, who's selling knockoff goods? I think I mentioned this last week. When they need a health potion, they meet a merchant. The health potions might do 1d4 max, or they might not heal you at all. And so they'll have to take equipment that they buy. Hey, can you check all my stuff, Lenk? Check to see that it's actually kosher and not rip-off. He's pessimistic. He always sees the worst part of any situation. So he will have you pay... Does it mention this? Do you have to pay a month up front? It doesn't have much, but I mean, it's got a small drawing room as well, a storage area, clean water. It's 100 gold a month. So I would say that he makes you have it for a month. He's not going to accept, it's not B&B. It's like you're going to live there for a month. That's the minimum tenants fee. Link exchanges gems because gems are found in this adventure. So you come back and it's not like you're lumbered with gems. Yeah, 1 month up front, the FG. So you know you're going to get your money. You don't have to role play it. You might role play it the first time you get to the keep. Him appraising it and saying, "Oh, I'll give you about," and he might try and shortfall them. Now my players are always like, "Who's got distort value spell?" Or, how can I mucky this gem up to make it look like it's not worth as, it's worth more. One or the other. Mucky his gems up that I'm trying to buy to make it look, there's all these little ruses. Or just pick, well, they're behind, his gems are going to be behind like storefront strong glass or even magic. Okay. So Lenk is going to get into conversation, probably not on the first time, but maybe later. He's not going to be giving out quests day one. So repeat visits are encouraged. Particularly if the players start doing well and they come back to the keep and they're celebrating all across the land for doing some good, then Lenk might be like, well done on that. And also, I might have a bit of work if you're interested. With reports of bandits along the trail and the occasional thief here in the keep, who is the thief? I like to put kids, 2 kids working in pairs. One's doing a dance, one will do a dance, and then the other one stood behind, going in the pockets. And I'll say, right, you've got kid's doing a tap dance in front of you. And I'll say, roll perception. And they'll hopefully think that they're rolling perception to judge the kid's talents, but they're actually rolling to see if they notice they're being pickpocketed. And then maybe 10 minutes later after that scene, I'll say, deduct, and I'll roll a d6 or something and say, that many gold. And they'll be like, what? I'll say, nothing, but deduct that gold. Or you can say, at the end of the day, right, you're about to go to sleep and you sort of checking all your belongings because you're going to be asleep and you realise that you're 6 gold short. You can leave it at that. I plan to sell strong boxes to help citizens and travellers secure their valuables. I've received a few samples made by local crafters who want to partner with me in this venture. I need to determine which of these strong boxes are fit for sale. Care to smash them to pieces? And they'll be like, yes, we like hitting stuff. So he hands them each a locked box and says, try and get them open. And each box has gold inside as their payment, which is a good idea. It's good. It reminds me of having an inn somewhere in here, which it presumably does. It does, doesn't it? Card games, dice games, archery contests. Someone sees like someone who's like archery based, and they'll say, "Oh, you any good with that, mate? I bet you can't hit this from this distance." And allow them to show their prowess, or not with a bow. Harmless, but just fills time and it makes the world seem a bit more real. A barbarian, like imagine, those test your strength things where they hit a hammer on a bell, then it goes up and rings a bell. Something like that. Do you then try to pick it again after they fail? I think there's a rule where if you fail something, you can't do it again for another hour. There is a written rule like that. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. In real life, if you were trying to pick a lock and failed, you snapped your pick. What's next? You're going to hit it with a hammer, aren't you? And then the wizards are going to say, give it here. I'm going to fireball it. I'm going to soften it. So, yeah, I just let him do it again and again. So you do get a check here. A character with thieves' tools. A character with thieves' tools. Can I try and pick the lock? Do you have thieves' tools? Is that within your talents? Well, no, but I'll just borrow his. He has thieves' tools. And I'll say, you try but fail. I couldn't pick a lock. If I borrowed someone's thieves' tools, I reckon it's hard. I won't even know where to start. So, they can have a go, but I won't allow it. There are many ways to open a lockbox, right? You get as high as you can on the keep and throw it on the floor outside. You get a carriage to run over it. If you're not proficient, yeah, absolutely. if it's a door that's gonna stop somebody going, you know, if I'm like, I hope you get through there, yeah, they get through eventually. You pick it and pick it. But if it's if this lockbox particular, it's like, who cares whether you get it or not? You have to earn this. Okay, you don't get it. I mean, there's look all these ways. It's like lockpick, pry it open with an athletics check, just blast the hell out of it with a load of spells. 5 gold in each one, and then link if all of them. Yeah, so they even get a gold piece each, whether they do it or not. And as we've learned, a gold is pretty useful here. And then when one character's got 50 gold and the rest have got 10, it's like, are you paying for lunch? Are you, you know, because they'll be, if they're getting 100 gold is a lot. I suppose that's why I wouldn't start them at the keep, because they can't really. Well, yeah, I suppose that's why they go in the barn, but I don't know. I'm disagreeing with myself. Yeah. Well, you want to keep them happy, don't you? And that shows that length's not too bad. The smithy. I like a smithy, as I've spoke about before, because I like the rules of if you've got a shield, you've got your +2 to AC. I like them to go to a smithy, a blacksmith, and say, can you rework this so that it's smaller and just fits on my hand? Rework this, and it, you know, it, because when you've got a shield, right, you can only one-hand weapon. If that shield was mounted onto your arm with a strap, but it was smaller, you're just doing this all the time, I'd say you can still have 2 weapons and block. So things like that, I like a +1 shield, but smaller, like a buckler shield. Yeah, and also find a magic item. If you can be inventive and say, I want this magical effect imbuing into my battle axe or my sword or my shield. Absolutely. You've got your sword. You want it to be a +1. That's not magical. That's just good craftsmanship. Leave it with me for 2 days. You're going to be without that weapon for 2 days. That is a decision, because you know the rest of the guys are going to be or girls, you know, are going to be out in a fight. What's your backup equipment? Hopefully, they can borrow a weapon, you know, but it's not. It's -2 because it's just not got the weight that they need. It's just a bit of fun. But yeah, you give them it with a detriment. And as I said last week, magic items, don't make it a magic item. I've got nothing to represent it. Oh, yes, I have. You find this instead, and it's something that you can embed in your shield or embed in a magic weapon, you know, size it to fit. And basically, oh, this means that my shield can set on fire and do an extra d6 damage because it burns them, you know, but it has limited day. It might even be once a day at this level, but it comes from my enjoyment of the Fable first game. You got amulets and you put them in your weapon, and you could do cold, and you could do, you know, have like 2 slots. Maybe one makes them faster. You want to up your speed? I don't know. Basically, put it in your bow, makes you better at your bow. put it in a javelin, makes you better with your javelin. Oh, yeah. You could do the weapon masteries. You know, if you want a second weapon mastery, you've got to go and have it made. It takes 2 days. Or you want Nick in this as well as Graze. Yeah, that's fun. What player doesn't want to have improvised magic or improvised weapons, I suppose? If they're inventive, you reward it. They used to be called masterwork weapons. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? So yeah, I do love a blacksmith if they can only think. Like, what if you made me a helmet so that I'm, you know, like Deathbringer's helmet? That surely improves your AC. You're always sort of being hit in the face. Let them have it. I don't see why not. And if it becomes a problem, it gets nicked. Who nicked it? You know, when they sleep. You don't have to go crazy. If you're just thinking to yourself, I'll allow each player one level up of a weapon in somewhere. And if they're getting magic items anyway, which they do get a lot, we mentioned it last week, and you find a magic item. Just, you're not really altering the game. You're just giving things in a different, more inventive kind of a way. Who doesn't love a +1? You know? Do you want a +1 to your AC? Do you want a +1 to a weapon? Or do you want a magical effect to one of those things? You could just ask them outright. But yeah, really, they're limited by their imagination. It's not like you're giving them advantage. It's flame arrows. Love it. So a large forge. Yeah, just the details. Because doesn't this NPC regret making things that get used to kill soldiers? Ooh, interesting question. When should I level up my party? This book, I think, suggests after each completion of like this chapter, and then the caves chapter, and then the wilderness chapter. Is that right? I think they go up to level 3 in this. Now, have they done away with XP actually in 5.5? You used to be able to grind for XP points and then just earn enough like that. I don't think I've seen an XP table. I can't see what. I don't know. When should you level up? Well, it's up to you anyway. It sort of just feels natural. You know, they've been out, done some fighting. After even a session. From 1 to 2, quick. Oh, I've got the perfect answer. I've got what I do. This is my perfect answer for especially new players when to level them up. 1 session at level 1, 2 sessions as level 2, 3 sessions as level 3, 4 sessions at level 4, and I've used that, and I used it for 18 months or whatever, and worked really well. Now and again, we'd get to the end of a big chapter, and then I'd say, "Oh, go on, you can level up again." Because the more they level up, the more I can hurt them next time. Yeah, 2 caves, thank you. And yeah, 2 caves is a session. after they fully explore, completing 3 more caves. Yeah. It's really quick in this. But so I was almost right. You do some of that, you know, pretty much 1, 2, 3. It's not like a week's gone past, therefore they have to level up. It's more the story, it's more what they've achieved. You know, you took down that if you're inventing some homebrew stuff, or you took down that goblin camp, you think, well, yeah, fine. But then they have a hard battle the week after, then it's like, come on, reward them. You just basically dangling that carrot. Yeah, story-based milestones. It should just feel natural. You've got a thing to do. Well done, you've done it. It's a computer game scenario, isn't it? Go find the thing. Oh, thanks. Here's a little bit of a reward. Nice. Go find this. Go tell this other woman this other thing. You come back. I don't know, 3 mini quests, and then you sort of feel like, okay, guys, I feel like your renown's gone up. I don't know if you do renown. It's like alignment for the group as a whole. How liked you are around the keep. You know, who are these strangers? Oh, did you hear about those strangers? Tick 1 renown. They found all those goats. Oh, did you hear about those strangers? Not only did they bring a load of new weapons in and a load of new gems, they've decided to help out. Oh, renown 2, and people are more favourable to them and will offer them new quests as their renown goes up. I was thinking of leveling up during the fight with the warped wizard in the cave. Well, that's the final boss of the cave. And then sometime after a big boss in the woods and level 3 during the... Yeah, the words there, boss and boss, totally legitimate. Their heroic reputation. I thought it was called renown. Well, same thing, isn't it? But yes, whitest rabbit. You're spot on with that. And after the fight, do a weapon upgrade or, offer them something story-based. Not only did you get the gold and the pat on the back, now you can use this new armor or swap your weapon out. Got a +1 weapon, whatever. And don't forget, a blacksmith can be used to infuse it with shiny artwork that, like tattoo design that you designed. Draw me your design, what your shield looks like. That's what this new one's going to look like. So yeah, what's her name? Callista. Callista is like, oh yeah, I made these weapons. I feel a bit bad that they sort of killed people from the keep. So I've stopped. She's lost her nerve, but that's her craft. You know, when you're good at something like that and you make money off it, you haven't really got a choice. There's no real need for lots of fencing, is there? No one's asking for sheds to be built with metal roofs. Do you feel like the go do this and bring the thing back makes the players bored? I feel like quests sometimes should be complicated and take time to keep the players interested. No, I don't. I don't think that. Unless because you don't just do go get this, go get that, go get this, go get that. You do. Well, what have you got? You've got some exploration, haven't you? Go and go look at the caves. You go there, have a fight, search for the, survival checks for the cave. Oh, you've gone the wrong way. You're breaking it up. Oh, you found the thing. Okay, you found the thing you're looking for. Now you need to get that back to the keep. Blah, blah, blah. Get to the keep. And now someone else is like, well, I need this. Well, you don't necessarily do that. You say, can you invest? Something is prowling around outside of the keep. Can you go and find out? It comes out at night. We've never seen it. It's an investigation. Little, magnifying glass detective work. You've broken it up. They're outside following something now, trying to stealthy search it out. Okay, we found out what it was. We fought it, or we realized it was nothing. And then, oh, well, we've heard there's this over there. And you're just kind of reframing it, aren't you? They don't have to be done in one session, like you say. You can be, there is this banditry going on outside. It's not going to be a case of find the bandits, kill them. It's, do you try and take out the leader head on with a lot of forces? Do you pick off little bits at a time, roaming bandits? There's just a choice thing, Yes, I am Whitest Rabbit. Yeah. I'm really good at putting things in playlists. And after questions of last week, are you going to do this? And I've already done them. I entice viewers to look at my playlists to see what modules I've done. If it's too complicated, the players can get bored. If it's too complicated, why is it going to be too complicated? I just forget why they're doing something that takes more processor. You know what? That's what this side of a DM screen is for. Sticky note. Quest 1. Kill bandits. Quest 2. Explore caves. Quest 3. If I find some metal ore, bring it back to the blacksmith. Quest 4. Find out who that Malin is. What was she? Why is she wandering the outside alone? Or, as you might have seen before, I have a whiteboard up here. And I say, all your quests, you write on that whiteboard. So we have a real life whiteboard. Yeah, all you need is one person in the session to be writing stuff down. I did used to be a bit of a punisher to my players. I'd say, okay, you meet this dwarf and he's called Edward, blah, 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 blah. And then later on, maybe 3 hours later, there's the elves you wanted to tell about that dwarf and what he said. All right, I go up and tell him about that dwarf. And I say, well, what do you tell him? Oh, well, what was his name? And I'll be like, I don't know. What was his name? And then I'd be like, didn't you write it down? Well, I didn't write it down. Well, play it out, role play it out. I didn't pay attention to what you asked me to do. You know what I mean? I used to really punish him for it, which is funny to an extent. But that's why memory checks, history checks, see if you remember to spur it. Yeah, that's why that's there. But yeah, back to that question. It's balance. I know that the Hogwarts Harry Potter game, computer game, is really fetch questy. But I don't know. There's some fun in that. Especially if they're going to benefit from it. There's a sacred spring apparently in the woods, and that's healing. There's a point to going there. If you go and get me these items, I can craft you this. Again, the blacksmith. I need these 3 flowers. I need some sort of magical liquid, the sacred spring. I need ear hair from a kobold. There are kobolds. And then with all that, I can make you a potion that makes you invulnerable to all damage for 10 minutes. That is like, yep, I will go through the monotony of quest grabbing just to get the thing I want. You know, you like saying, is combat after combat boring? Well, only if it's not broken up with other things. But ultimately, that's what we're doing, isn't it? That's why we're playing the game. So you can have some help. You can have a job to do for this Callista. You know, I know it has like checks, but this is a scene. Callista says, right, if you'd like to help me out here, I'd like you to gather up you see all those rusty pieces of equipment over there. I'd like you to bring them over here, and sort them into piles, spears. I know it says athletics check for strength, but you know, you can just do like a D10. How well do you sort them out? And she'll sort of say, "Oh, well done, you did really good sorting. What's that? You've left them all, even though they're no better than when I found them." It's kind of a role play option. And then the person who does really well, it's like, I trust you. You can actually do some melting down. Put these gloves on, and it's a conversation just off these 2 checks. If at least one character succeeds on each check, the party completes the disarmament. Characters go and retry. She dismisses them with a sigh and says, "I can do the rest myself." So yeah, that's a whole scene there of being in the blacksmith, and you know, that could fill 20 minutes. Yeah, don't forget, you know, checks are fine, but it paints a picture. The provisioner's shop. Barrels, bottles, boxes, and other supplies. Yeah, so we do have the handout for this shop. Boop. So in this store, acid, antitoxin, ball bearings, potion of healing, lantern, rope. But what else? Do you sell magic items in this shop? Probably not. Because it says the shelves have clothes, blankets, tools, trinkets, toys. Now, trinkets, there's some great trinkets tables in the new DMG. And some can be in a case. Like I have a D1000 list of weird items, like a ball that only rolls uphill. A mirror that sees only a year later. So whenever you're looking at it, you're seeing in a year's time. Stuff like that. Weird stuff. You know, a candle that never burns down. Never. I like things like that. I give them these things and it never comes up. Oh, a coin that always lands. This is a good one. A coin that always, when flipped, lands heads up. They love that stuff because it always comes that moment where, okay, I'll bet you if heads I win, tails you lose, and they know it's going to come up heads. And just that little play of power that they have. They really enjoy that. So the shop is haunted in a back room. Yeah, just a good. That's kind of a Harry Potter scene, if you ask me. Which did they talk about them going into it in a minute? Yeah, we discussed. I mean, why it's got musical instruments. Not, I suppose, for bards. Okay, yeah. Not every. Oh, that's good. A candle that creates darkness. Exactly, that's good. Just a bit kooky stuff, you know. Not every bard needs to be a musician, do they? There's a stand-up comic. There's town crier, circus performer. They're just like show-offs, really. A LARPer. Not dissing LARPing. Fire Ghost. Yeah, so they've locked off this. They've locked off this room. It turns out all it is sun coming through and hitting a magnifying glass. Bit boring. I quite like the idea of it being dead ex-husband. Something like that. Previous shop owner. Because I love the possession feat, not possession feat, the possession feature, where whoever's possessed, you have to stop them being possessed by knocking them to 0 hit points. College of Swords, bad juggling knives. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and of course in this back room there could be books for them to pinch. In fact, while we're on this subject, you might have seen these on Amazon. Table Fables, Arcane Artifacts and Curious Curios. Breaking down into jewelry, clothing, armor, weapons, books, potions, equipment, trinkets, knickknacks, miscellaneous. Now, let's look for some things are really like magic itemy in here, but it goes down to trinkets 341. I'm thinking about shops. That's what I'm doing. Trinkets and knickknacks. A tooth jar. So yeah, tooth in a jar, basically. Hourglass of time. When flipped upside down, time seems to flow backwards. The user can rewind up to 1 minute of time once per month. That's pretty cool. Although that is very magical. That's not just a trinket, is it? A glass eye. A peculiar ring. Poisonous pen. Spirit glue. A small bottle of glue intended to fasten prosthetics to skin. Yeah, but otherwise, there's gloves of returning. A pair of brown leather gloves. So the woman's like, well, we have got this for sale. These came in. Somebody found these. They are a pair of brown leather gloves, as you can see. They are hemmed with red thread. Are they magical? Well, I don't know. I've not really had time to study it. The magician guy is like, oh, look, it's giving off some sort of aura. After 1d10 minutes, anything thrown by the user reappears in their hands. History, even. These gloves were created by Sir Stahl, a legendary knight who rose to fame after defeating the king's best in the annual jousting tournament. And of course, you can add a sentient spirit to these things. Or yeah, I love that sort of stuff, especially for books, though. When there's some really great, because I look through for books on this, books on that. Those just make it look like you're well prepared. So yeah, they'll be coming back to this shop quite a lot for trinkets and knickknacks. And chalk. Why don't they always buy chalk? They can leave anyone messages. They can write the arrows to the way in, the way out. it seems just writing messages like Skywrite. What a great spell. You can write messages to each other in the sky. Seems like a real game breaker, but I like it. So yeah, you get 10 gold pieces, which is quite a lot, I suppose, for just saying, oh, either it was this spirit, we put them to rest, or it were nothing, just a magnifying glass. Boring, isn't it? Can we at least keep the magnifying glass? Since it's a fire hazard. A trader's shop. Okay. Awnings extend over weapon racks and armor stands at this trader's shop. Inside, a tall human woman polishes a suit of armor with an oily rag. Olera. Family business, but runs it with her 2 teenage sons. And these sons want to be brave knights. She likes to keep everything spotless. And she sells lovely armor. Okay, so this is where we can let them design their own armor. So the blacksmith is a separate issue. You can create magic items. Well, yeah, magic items, I suppose. You can mess about with your armor and stuff, tailor make it to how they want it. But then this is the shop where you go to do the paint job, have it gold filigreed but damn, is it expensive. 400 gold pieces. But arrow tips. Put poison on your arrow tips. Magically make them flame on. With those gloves, you can return them to your quiver. So that your ammo's not spent. Do you count ammo? I certainly don't. Right, she offers them a gold piece to unload a wagon while the sons are off. Yes, the delivery is late, so she tells them to meet the wagon along the trail. We've already had the broken wagon in the wilderness scene. So this is our chance to have a doppelganger come in, so that they end up talking to an NPC that isn't really the NPC. And that is a great quest for In the Keep. Somebody is a doppelganger. Or you see Bartho doing something that he didn't do because it wasn't Bartho. And he's probably got some hand in this as well. But the goal to find what's kept the wagon from getting to town could have been simply held up by goblins and they find it absolutely ransacked and all the goods are stolen, which they can then reclaim later when they track down the robbers. But underneath this is actually an ooze glob, which is a lesser kind of ooze. And if you were being a bit crazy, you could use the oozes from this week's D&D drops, which different oozes combine into this new big ooze. That's awesome. I've not done a video on it yet. But yeah, why wouldn't an ooze combine with different oozes to form mega ooze? Love it. And of course, those items that you give your players and regret, acid corrosion from oozes. You pull out your new sword and realize it's just the handle with a little spike on. There's been an ooze in your scabbard. Oof, that's cruel. But if you need to pull things back, get it nicked, get it destroyed. Oh, great, you've brought back a doppelganger the other day when you brought that cart back. And then there's an outcry from the town. Are we sure these heroes are on our side? Seems, if you ask me, it seems like they're in league with the bandits. Or they work for Everville, the next town over who we hate. A bank. Yeah. Okay, separate from Link, we have a bank again. We're looking at heists, aren't we? Probably. Gonna make that girl that roams the wilderness into a werewolf. Yes. Yeah, we spoke. I don't know if you were here for the wilderness. Was it wilderness last week? No, caves last week, wasn't it? Yeah, we spoke about that girl's got some secret. She's just wandering the lands that are dangerous on her own. Don't even have a bodyguard or anything. Yeah, a werewolf. Can't really go wrong with someone with lycanthropy. You know, she's like, oh, the merchant's out. The wagon's late. We don't know where. Go track the merchant down. And yeah, he's like, looks like he's bandaged up a bit, and he's like, oh, I need healing. And yeah, there you go. You got your werewolf. You can have great NPCs suddenly found dead. Investigation. It's got bite marks. Someone's a werewolf. Well, that's scary. NPCs are there for you to kill. You know, especially if you don't like them. If you think that Barthor, crap, I don't want to use him. Have him red shirt. Have him be killed. So we've got Quink here, who is a legitimate business lady, and we've got a corrupt guard in league with Barthor, no doubt. Corrupt guards are great. I like an investigation. Insight checks. Stealth, you know, it talks about camping outside, keeping an eye on the place. But first, yeah, it's very well protected. And I'd have maybe a couple of unseen servants or something invisible protecting this, so it's not as unprotected as it looks. But maybe this girl doesn't get attacked by them. But if your players want to steal everything, it's not as easy as it looks. 250 gold pieces worth of wealth. It's not actually a lot when a chest piece is 400. You can borrow gold for an interest. Maybe that happens. Maybe. Yvette here is a lousy guard. There's a break-in recently while she was on watch. Yeah, surely we know who did it. I'd like you to stake out the bank tonight. If you see a burglar trying to enter, intervene and convince the criminal to leave at once. What a hand slap. Remember, I'm paying for your discretion. So you can make them do stealth stakeout prep. How are you going to observe the area? Are you going to do those alarm magical ropes? What, trip wires? Are you going to pretend to be someone worth robbing? You know, that sort of thing. Have them think up of a good way to have this come about. And you can have a really snarky conversation with Yvette. If Yvette basically out deceits them, and then have Yvette or Barthor hire an assassin to try and kill them in their sleep. And oh yeah, we've already got, what's he called, Jacko out in the wilderness. He's an assassin for hire. Beautiful. Quink says, thanks if Yvette gets rescued or whatever. Because it's not just this bank that can get robbed, it's your players. Have them hate somebody. That is usually a great investment. And the pub. Probably spend a lot of time at the pub. Haldrick, the innkeeper. Was Haldrick the guy who was hunting elk, hiding in bushes weirdly? He offers them a bed for the night, which is 1 gold a night. I don't think I've ever stayed anywhere for the price of a soup or a pint. A private room? Yeah, you sleep in a big hall for a gold. Even so, that's dirt cheap. And a private room is 5 gold pieces a night. It's a lot cheaper than the month payment, 100 gold a month. What's this? The bell. And they might find a gold piece under the bed. Yeah, somebody wants a wake-up call. It's basically you have to wake people up without waking everybody up. I mean, pretty much over and done with that, isn't it? But what I do like is, can you get up early and make bed and breakfast? Ask them, take their orders and do like a kitchen cooking thing. Performance checks. Roll for 1 out of 10 to see how well you did the tea, the toast, the bacon. You know, just some comedy in there. Oh, you couldn't. So your survival check, you couldn't find bacon. What did you use instead to try and pass off as bacon? Bit of fun there. Yeah. What was that area? An inn. And then we've got the proper tavern by Umbrus. So this is, yeah, the girl's uncle. It's called the Drunken Dragon. It hosts a nightly drinking game. Cannot go wrong with a drinking game. An arm wrestle. Best of 3 checks. So you get, if you can get 3 wins, you're down, you know. Oh, we're off a bit. You win again, oh, you're almost down. 3rd win, arm down. And so it's got that 6-part rolls. Could go on for ages. Darts, you know, don't forget a darts tavern game. You can literally have them roll a d20 and say that's where your arrow lies. You know, you roll 3 d20s, 9, 10, you're basically playing darts. I like to play cards in real life. I mean, hell, you could have a game of Magic. So let's have a round of Magic the Gathering. So if you can't pay, you have to do work in the bar. Yeah. I think it's good stuff like that. I always imagined myself as Strad walking around the table where my players were, standing over them, you know, oppressing them. If you've got the local Legends Tavern kit, there's a load of tavern games. Yes. I haven't heard of that. Do you know who made that? But yeah, I think it's really a really good, refreshing. If you have physical real things to play, just as a bit of side fun. And of course, they love to bet. How much money are you putting on? You know. So yeah, drinking competition. I guess, is it conserves? Is it going to say? Do we ever have rules for it? It's a gold. I can't believe that it's a gold. Buy a house round for 20 gold. Oof, someone's got a lot of money. We spoke about the meaning of Briac last week. All right, here we have it. Steamforge Games and their Epic in Town Counters range. Thank you. I wondered if it was Loki. To play Chug Champion, all the chuggers line up at the bar and pay 5 gold. They pay 5 gold to receive 3 pints. It's a DC 12 con save to down a pint in 1. On a fail, you're too slow, you get eliminated. So I reckon if you fail the DC 12, it'd be the lowest, because you'd have some NPCs doing this as well. At least a couple. And I would look at the numbers under 12 and be like, the lowest roll lost. Eliminated, you know? Character who saves all 3 saves wins the game. You can also have stiffer drinks. Start with an ale, then go to a strong cider, then go to a whiskey and have it be like 12, 15, 17. You get 25 gold for first, and then 15 and 10. Yeah, the choice gets eliminated. It's good, that. This is the benefit of being in a town or a traveling fair. It's a really good break-up session where it's just for fun. Horse racing or, you know, mice racing, bloody spider racing. The guild house. Okay, this sounds important. This is the posh part of town. Yeah, stately home. This Torin in her Eberron style classic wheelchair. It's around the yes. That's great. So you can use chase rules. On the chase rules, you can have like barrels and stuff to jump over, and you know, 2 blokes come out holding a plate glass window for you to run through. You know what it's like. You did a snare race in the Feywilds. Brilliant. Yeah, really, really fun, aren't they? So this lady is the guild master. She helps artisans get a good deal. I don't know the strength of this lady's. She oversees the guild from a polished but cluttered oak desk. Fine. She keeps a collection of books and scrolls. Okay, she's a librarian. It costs a gold to spend an hour researching. Well, she has to make her money somehow. Oh, see, they're doing it different. A character can hire an artisan to customize their equipment, such as emblazoning a shield. Yeah, we've talked about this. You can put it where you want. There's just many different ways of saying, would you like this emblem putting on your stuff? Here he is. Pixel Pat. Yeah, so obviously you might be, as a newbie, there might be you or they might be worried about what do you know about the area? You know, it's all right having a library and books on the history. If you don't know the history, you're like, don't know, Greyhawk history, no idea. But don't worry about it. Make it up. This is your area. Apparently, there used to be like this orc invasion, and that's all a lot that talks about. And he was called Big Chungus, the leader, and then they took down this orc army, and you know, just make stuff up. Because they do try and catch you out with, well, what do you know? See you later, Miklos. Thanks for calling in. I recently received a shipment of tempestuous magical scrolls. Oh yeah, it's floating about scrolls, which is straight out of Harry Potter. They're nicely formed into these magical weapons. The scrolls have a will of their own. Yeah. Or it's the books from Ghostbusters, right at the beginning of Ghostbusters. Just a bit of fun. Whirling parchment. Of course, one could be I guess one. There's such thing as a map mimic. That's what I was thinking. Reminds me of these. But yeah, they get paper cut, basically. 1d4 slashing. Just let them use whatever. We can't just burn them, you know? They have to be caught. So this is probably a great thing for your archer to... 20 gold pieces if they encase all the scrolls. That's good, isn't it? Oh, they get knocked out. Don't die or anything. 1 health point. All slashed up. That's another thing I like. I like to keep track of players. We talk about little lingering injuries, but I like the scars and stuff on people. Yeah. Yeah, there are certain songs that do fit certain situations, aren't there? When we're in Avernus, I always play the Doom latest soundtrack, Rip and Tear and stuff. So yeah, you can come and study, but she wants that job doing. Or you can even say, "Hey, these books have come in. Do you want to help me out by, returning these returned books to my shelves? Maybe I'll waive the fee for research then." But what else? She is probably a great fountain of knowledge herself. Her family's third generation, and she probably tells the story of that hermit as well. The lady who was wrongfully thrown out of this keep, which is a horrible thing to do. So it's got a temple if you've got your religious types who need to come and pray. Was this it? Oh no, Iblis is actually the baddie. 1 free law search. Yeah. Yeah, Fazia talks about, oh yeah, this someone used to work here, but now they don't anymore. And Iblis secretly leads the cult of chaos up in the caves. So we've already got an interloper. We talked about having a doppelganger or a werewolf in the keep. Well, one's already been and gone. That's a nice touch. Donations. Yeah, come and pray to whatever religious god you support. I think a session 0 question is, do you have a god? Should you die? Give me some tips at the scene that you would like to happen. And if they don't have a god, have them be tempted by a devil. Say, I'll bring you back to life if you kill a person every day without being discovered. So yeah, there's not much more to that. Other than this is the get out of jail free section where you can have a revival for 2,000 gold. That seems like a fair price to me. But I always give a player a 1 free bring around from their god. Their god says, okay, this is not your time, especially with new players. I get harder on people who are 3 campaigns in. But yeah, it's also nice to sort of privately message a player who's died and be like, look, what do you want to do? Do you want to be brought back, or is this it? You fancy playing somebody else? It's nice to put it in their court. But once you've done that, next time they die, sorry, you died. That's the game. Which, you know, people who don't like 5v and stuff, because it's not as crunchy, you don't die as much, would probably hate me for saying that, but that's just how I like to play it. So I don't really understand this. A married couple asked Fazia to give them a blessing, and he needs 2 assistants. Sure. Is there a better job that we can do here? Surely there is. I can't remember what I said in the guide. I suppose it's got to be a bit religious. Not, I don't know. The second quest is that Vandal one. Someone, Chaos people, and who knows who of the town are Chaos people, have been graffitiing the temple. Again, another stakeout perhaps. But yeah, I would say washing down the statues, putting all the religious text back, or sweeping out the floor. I'd say that's a job for everybody. If they wanted free money, because it's 3 gold. It's unlikely the characters will accumulate the gold required to revive a party member. Fazia might waive any of the fees on the Sacred Services handout for those he believes show heroic potential. So if your player says, and I always wake up and pray to the Morning Lord, and I always then lean into that one religious type might recognize a religious type and be like, yeah, I'll help you out. Now, coming back from the dead is another, or almost dead, is another thing entirely. I like to always bring them back changed. I say, if you're going to come back, I want you to change one thing about your character. One quite substantial thing as well. Now, there's something called, I've led up to that sentence. There's something, are they called Reborn? I've gone blank. DFG, do you know? There's like something you can come back as. Not undead. It's when you're not undead, but you changed. God, what is it? It's something like Reborn. Anyway, come back changed. Be different. Now, you might have a different characteristic, or, you know, like different personality in a way. I used to want to be magical, and now I've decided Yeah, it is Reborn, yeah. And now I've decided that I'm more martial class, you know? And maybe even though they've built their character to be all archery, they have to use their bad stats of strength to swing a greatsword because that's who they are now. You know, it's the price of coming back from the dead. And it's a great scene. Tell you what, it's a great scene when you say, right, we're going to bring this person back now. I want all you players to say something that recite a memory that you have with your teammate here as Fazir or whoever is like laying coins on their eyes and sprinkling them with this salt, whispering incantations. And any magic users you can help, or clerical sort of people, you can help by casting a spell and making this ritual work more and having them all roll dice. Make it like a will they, won't they sort of come back? You know, Jeopardy. It's a big scene. He's coming back from almost dead or dead. The gatehouse. Is this the military types? So yeah, you can join and have a tabard. Some people might want to be heroic paladin types and help out this town. Now, if this was Crimson Desert, they'd watch these guards performing and suddenly pick up a skill and be able to do the same fancy spear move or something. And don't forget that downtime, they can say, learn a new language or learn a dodge and roll to use once a fight or whatever. Just by observing and saying, I practice. If we're out of a mission now, I'm practicing that. Andrella offers them 25 gold pieces. Andrella is the leader. I want to observe how my soldiers would actually take on an invasion. So I want you to simulate a threat, which the players would be able to do. Sneak up and, you know, finger on their throat and say, if that had been a knife, you'd have been dead. And sort of reply back to Andrella how they did. Yeah, that's straightforward, really. Or maybe do you want to teach our military some of your moves because you're so good at this stuff? The Inner Bailey, a curmudgeonly sergeant of the guard. So yeah, moody sergeant major. Eight soldiers watch from up top. Weapon upgrade. The keep ordered too many crossbows, which untrained recruits can't use. So any of your players, this is a good example. We spoke about it earlier. To get a better weapon is an easy trade. Looks like that bow's seen better days. Fancy having this better one? We'll have that. Disrupting the charge. It's a lance fight. Oh, no, it's not. It's not a lance fight. Could be. It's spear at these hanging down bits. How good at you with a lance on horseback? That's fun. Animal handling. The character guides a horse off course. Or charisma, intimidation. The character tries to startle a horse or its rider. Shanik also wants you to investigate a catapult on top of the Great Tower. All right. Here's some tools. Here's its blueprints and how it works. Do a test fire. People love firing ballistas and stuff like that off of battlements. It's another scene. Get a bit of money. Not sure how interesting that is, but it's free money. Then we have the fortress. Accommodates up to 36 soldiers. Lavishly decorated. If Yvette was arrested at the bank for robbing the bank, she is inside one of these cells. Then we have the scribe, a dwarf man named Dwern, sits at a tidy desk. And he says, oh, here's a map of the wilderness. The map is sort of lacking in detail. That's good to get them to pay attention, to go out and actually make the map themselves. They get a gem, which they go to Lenk and exchange for cash. Elandra, the advisor. I'd like you to visit a few businesses within the keep and help the owners with any odd jobs they might have. So yeah, you're just pushing to get them to do stuff around the keep. Windval, the keep's noble commander. If you're a player short one session, you can always have Windval accompany them. As long as you don't run it as a DM, let the players run him. She's just an advisor. So yeah, he'll say a big problem is, there's a cult going about. Go and investigate. Just pointing you at the other parts. And then depends what your crescendo is, what your final piece is. Is it Ivlis and the cultists at the keep? Is it made up goblin tribes that we spoke about in session 1? You basically get the handout, which means I've reserved a chamber in the fortress for you. You and your companions may come and go in the keep as long as you please. And it's basically a bastion now, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, maybe they do get mounts, actually, looking at that. That's a good idea. Choose what sort of mount you want and what you're running next. Pointing them towards your next adventure. And they can always come back here. Yeah, that's very good. I'm impressed. I like looking through this box now. We were a while on from getting it and having it, and I'm looking through it the other day, and I was like, I like this a lot better than I did at first. So yeah, that was basically that. What have I got to tell you? So in other news, I am interviewing Sean Merwin. If you watch Mastering Dungeons or the Eldritch Lorecast, he's now working for Wizards of the Coast as a game designer. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. On Sunday, I get to chat with him. And basically, I'll probably be a video on here, but it might not be the full thing. Members and my Patreons will get the unedited access to a video. It's just how we've got to do. And yeah, any super chats or memberships we put towards buying the next modules. I think we're going to Well, but we know we're doing Tyranny of Dragons next. And then after that, presumably Princess of the Apocalypse, which I don't own the PDF of yet. So yeah, it's going to take us a while to do Tyranny of Dragons. But we got the maps for the VTT because I bought that. So we can look at D&D Beyond's maps as well. And I am waiting. Well, Laura's got back to me and Zach's waiting. Zach and Laura from D&D Beyond have sent me to a Wizards employee to say, I want to interview your guys and can you do it? Am I allowed to do it? So yeah, waiting for that. And the other thing to cover was people seem to be talking about the UA that's out. Unearthed Arcana, Underdark options. Now, I haven't done player stuff for a while. Not since I was a lot smaller than I am now. But perhaps now it's time. On my Patreon, the content is going to be more player-based. Just try and split things up. This is DM and stuff, isn't it? And I'm going to try and look at player stuff on there. But now, what is this going to be? Do we know what this is going to be in? Barbarian, Rogue, and Wizard. Path of Ceramorphosis. Usually these are a hint at things to come, aren't they? But why do we need to play Mind Flayers? The city of Deep Imaskar, home to the descendants of the ancient Imaskar Empire. Should we know that? Do we know that? They used unlight to create the magical seal, a symbol that protects and illuminates their city while nourishing crops that allow... Because it's all in the Underdark. Okay, are we going back to the Underdark then? Out of the Abyss too? That'd be nice. The Path of Unlight. Barbarians infused with the power of unlight. Underdark Barbarians is pretty cool. Most barbarians on this pass were first exposed to the unlight in the Underdark. Yeah. The magic of unlight is contagious and spreads in unpredictable ways. It infects people only briefly exposed to it. It's like the Fair's Rest, the madness what permeates the Underdark. When they rage, they can manifest this contagious energy. Roll on a table. Your unlight manifests as white light blazing from your eyes and mouth. What, for damage? Complex arcane symbols of light etched on your body. Nice. A cyclone of bright light that whirls around you. Good. Cracks in your flesh that reveal... Yeah. That's cool. Radiant Rage. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while your rage is on, that creature takes radiant damage equal to your rage bonus. Additionally, you shed bright light. Yep. See you later. Have a good evening, my friend. So yeah, you get all shiny. At level 6, proficiency in the perception skill? Yeah. So, why? While your rage is active, you have blind sight. A barbarian with blind sight who shines. Not that fussed about that. Level 10, infectious unlight. Damage you deal with brutal strike can be radiant. The target becomes infected with unlight for 1 minute. Yeah, but the effects of unlight aren't that interesting to share. But additionally, The target takes a d6 radiant damage. Sure, okay. So at level 10, you get to do an extra d6 damage, so possibly a 1. Plus your strength modifier and proficiency bonus. And you have resistance to radiant damage. Resistance to radiant damage? That's not going to come up too much, is it? The aura of your unlight is bolstered. As a bonus action, you unleash blinding brilliance. Con save. Or you take more radiant damage. He's a radiant damage dealing barbarian. Got you. Got you. Started off interesting, got less so. So, rogue, the drow houses of Menzoberranzan conspire against each other. Using the tools and training of their sponsor, a house agent is a master infiltrator. He's a little risky rogue. Each house agent is required to prove their loyalty before their sponsor allows them into the inner circles. Boring, boring, boring. You have friends, cantrip. This is a boring rogue. Backstab, stunning betrayal. Cost 46. If your target was friendly to you or had charmed condition when you hit it, if the target was friendly to you, alright, yeah. Or had the charmed condition, the target was stunned until the start of the next. Another stunning, yeah. Not a fan of stun as a DM. I suppose I would be as a player, but infiltration partner. The familiar you have through the Find Familiar spell gains dark vision. Don't care. A creature's hostile attitude doesn't impose disadvantage on you. Not exciting. Cunning strike. Confound 5d6. The target must succeed on a wisdom save or be charmed for a minute. Additionally, cast spells as a bonus action. Target no longer succeeds on the saving throw if it isn't a human or you're fighting it. Don't care. Wizard. Let's see what the wizard gets. I should have read that last bit. We know Unlight is a rare form of magic, known to very few. Roll on a table to inspire how your character learned it. Whatever. You know how to weave Unlight into your damaging spells. When you cast Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Thunder, you can change it to Radiant. Just like the Barbarian became Radiant. Okay. You got a Wizard who can now become Radiant. Target gains. You can imbue creatures with Unlight by making them stronger and fiercer. As a bonus action, choose a willing creature. I guess animals aren't willing. Well, maybe could be. You roll 2 of your hit dice, and those hit dice are gone. On a wizard, the target gains temp hit points, so you give some of your life to another thing. I wouldn't be doing that as a wizard. You can wield the restorative effects of Unlight to heal injuries. Yeah, I like that. What's this? If you expending hit dice as a wizard, I do not like that one bit. Right. What's this? Ceramorphosis, where you turn into a mind flayer. Path of Ceramorphosis feats. Tadpole host. You begin a symbiotic relationship with the mind flayer tadpole in your body. We're just trying to reinvigorate Baldur's Gate 3, are we? Your intelligence goes up by 1, that's good. You learn Mind Sliver cantrip. Can't remember what that is. There's no hyperlink. The Wellspring of Psionic Energy. Oh, the Psion stuff. Okay, yeah. Now I realise where this has come from. You get some Psionic Energy dice. It's just not exciting. I don't think you should be able to play a Mind Flayer. Just like you shouldn't be able to play a Beholder. Some things are just should be left, enemies only. So I know it's only a UA, but I'm not too happy about that. Well, a little over 2 hours. We've done our last live stream of Heroes of the Borderlands. There's a playlist where all the lives and the actual DM guide will be. Next week, it is Tyranny of Dragons. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.